All right, buckle up, everybody, because we're diving headfirst into AI. Things are moving at warp speed, and we've got a whole stack of articles from AI Breakfast, all from January 2025. And let me tell you,
It's been a wild month.
wild's an understatement. We're talking breakthroughs that could completely change entire industries, like how we work, live, everything. And there's a global race going on, you better believe it. So consider this deep dive your crash course. You'll understand who's who in the AI world, what kind of mind-blowing tech they're cooking up.
And how it might affect you.
Exactly.
What's really striking is how AI is going from just small improvements to these massive leaps forward. It's like we're seeing this incredible combination of computing power that we've never seen before.
Right.
And then access to these mountains of data and some really, really smart algorithms.
So let's kick things off with this AI arms race everyone's been talking about. AI Breakfast has been covering it like crazy.
It's been everywhere.
Right. The U.S. government just dropped this bombshell announcement. Project Stargate.
Yeah, Project Stargate.
A $500 billion initiative.
$500 billion.
To basically supercharge U.S. AI development and, compete with China.
That's a big statement. It really shows how serious the U.S. is taking this. And they've got some big names leading the charge. OpenAI, Oracle, and SoftBank. They're putting down $100 billion right off the bat.
Wow.
Yeah, $100 billion. And they're going all in. Massive data centers, ramping up chip production, even expanding energy resources.
It's huge.
It's a gigantic project, and they're sending a message.
Yeah, they're promising tons of new jobs and that the U.S. will be the leader in AI. But it makes you wonder, is it enough? What if China finds a better, more efficient way, like what DeepSeek just did?
That's a really good question. DeepSeek, this Chinese AI startup, they kind of threw everyone a curveball with their R1 model. It's not just that it's outperforming some of the big players, it's doing it at a fraction of the cost.
Yeah, this DeepSeek thing has everyone freaking out. Apparently, they didn't do things the normal way. They went deep into this hardcore coding called PTX programming. It's fascinating because it could completely change the game. Now, smaller companies, even individual developers could go toe-to-toe with the giants, like OpenAI.
Right, it's like they built the super efficient scooter while everyone else is building gas-guzzling trucks.
I love that analogy.
And DeepSeek's approach, it sent shockwaves, honestly, through the entire industry. Nvidia's stock took a hit, NASDAQ futures tumbled, everyone's trying to figure out what this means.
So what you're saying is DeepSeek is challenging this whole idea that you need to spend billions to be successful in AI.
Exactly. They're showing that you can have innovation coming from anywhere.
So it's not just about who has the most money?
Not at all.
That's really cool.
And it's making everyone rethink what they thought they knew about AI development.
Of course, the U.S. isn't just going to sit back and watch. Meta, for example, they came out with their own big plans, the Llama 4 model, a massive new data center.
It's clear they're trying to stay in the race.
Oh, yeah.
And they're really emphasizing this open source approach, which could be a way to encourage wider innovation and challenge those closed ecosystems that some companies prefer.
Okay, so we've got this battle brewing, different ways of thinking about AI. But it's not just about who has the biggest budget or the fastest computers, right? It's about what AI can actually do. How's it going to help?
Exactly, and that's where things get really interesting, right? We're seeing AI abilities just explode, which is amazing, but it also brings up some important questions.
For example, OpenAI just came out with Operator, an AI that can actually do things in your web browser. It can book your travel, make dinner reservations, even shop on a line for you.
That's incredible. Imagine you could just say, Operator, book a flight to Hawaii for my next vacation, and it just does it.
That would be amazing.
Right. But it makes you think, who has all that data about what you like and where you're going? What happens if something messes up?
That is something to think about. OpenAI says they might keep data from Operator for up to 90 days, even stuff you delete, for security and to prevent fraud. But it definitely raises questions about privacy, how much we're willing to give up for convenience.
And that's a tension we're going to see more and more as AI gets woven into our lives, balancing those benefits with protecting our privacy and security.
And remember those Microsoft researchers who figured out how to trick AI?
Oh, yeah.
They used clever prompts to bypass the safety measures. It just shows that even with the best safeguards, AI can still be vulnerable.
It's like a constant back and forth. As the AI models get more complex, the ways to manipulate them get more complex.
And then you have that guy who built a working nuclear fusion reactor in his kitchen using Claude AI.
It's mind-blowing.
It's right there in one of the AI Breakfast articles.
It's a perfect example, isn't it? It's incredible what AI can do. Groundbreaking advancements, but then you have to ask, is it safe? Should just anyone be able to do this? It's a lot to think about. It really does make you think, what are the limits when you've got AI that can help you build almost anything?
It's both exciting and a little terrifying, And it's not just in labs or research centers anymore. this AI revolution.
It's going mainstream.
It's going everywhere, even to the dance floor.
Right. Imagine you go to a wedding in the future and the person you're dancing with is a robot.
A robot wedding guest.
Well, maybe not weddings, but researchers at UC San Diego, they actually taught a humanoid robot to waltz.
Really?
Yeah, and it's impressive. We're not talking clunky, pre-programmed movements. This robot, it moves with grace, fluidity, like a human dancer.
You gotta wonder, where is this all going? Is there even a limit to how smart and capable these AI models can get?
That is the question, isn't it? OpenAI doesn't seem to think there's a limit. They just announced they're training their next model, O4, and they're expecting it to be another huge leap forward.
So even with everything AI can do now, we're still just scratching the surface.
We really are. Think about it. We've gone from AI that can beat us at chess to AI that can create realistic images, videos, write code, control robots. It's mind-blowing. What's next? It's a question everyone in the AI world is asking.
It really feels like we're on the edge of something massive. But it's not just about what AI can do, it's about who controls it, right? Who gets to decide what AI can and can't do?
That's such a crucial point, and it leads us to this big debate that's happening right now. Open source versus proprietary AI. Should this incredible power be available to everyone, or should companies like OpenAI keep it under wraps?
Let's break that down for our listener. So on one side, you've got companies like Meta who are pushing for open source. Their argument is that by making the technology more accessible, you're going to democratize innovation. It'll prevent power from being concentrated in the hands of a few big players.
Right, it's like the difference between a recipe that's shared freely and one that's locked away in a vault. With open source, anyone can contribute, experiment, build on each other's work, and that can lead to faster progress and more creative solutions.
But isn't there a risk? Like, what if someone with bad intentions gets their hands on it and uses it for harmful purposes?
That's a common concern, and it's definitely something to think about carefully. But those who support open source argue that transparency and collaboration can actually make it easier to spot and address those risks, like having more eyes on the code, looking for weaknesses and potential issues.
Okay, so more eyes, more safety. Makes sense. And on the other side of the debate, you've got companies like OpenAI. They're taking a more proprietary approach. Their belief is that by controlling who has access to their models and data, they can prevent misuse and ensure responsible development.
It's a tough balance. OpenAI has been criticized for being too secretive, and some worry that their approach could slow down innovation by limiting access to their technology. But OpenAI's argument is they have a responsibility to manage these powerful tools carefully.
So it's like a trade-off between safety and progress.
Exactly.
And then you've got companies like Tesla taking a totally different route. They're not trying to build the biggest or most general AI. They're focused on highly specialized AI systems that are super efficient.
Right. Almost like DeepSeek's philosophy, but on a larger scale.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And Elon Musk is putting all his chips on AI being Tesla's future.
Self-driving cars, humanoid robots, he sees them as huge revenue generators.
But high risk, high reward. So we've got this three-way race going on. Meta pushing for open source, OpenAI being cautious, and Tesla betting big on specialized AI. Like, they each have their own vision for what the future of AI looks like.
And it's not just about the companies, it's about all of us. As AI becomes a bigger part of our lives, we need to ask questions, demand transparency, and think critically about how this technology will affect us.
Okay, let's zoom in on AI assistants for a minute. We've seen what they're capable of, but are they really going to be running our lives in the future? What's the latest on that front?
OpenAI is definitely taking steps to make ChatGPT even more of an assistant. They just rolled out this new feature called Tasks. It basically turns ChatGPT into a task manager, scheduling actions, reminders, notifications.
Wow.
It's a big step towards that true AI assistant we've been talking about.
So you could literally say, ChatGPT, remind me to order flowers for my mom's birthday next week, and it would do it.
Exactly. It's about integrating AI seamlessly into our lives, letting it handle those little things that we tend to forget.
That's incredible. But wouldn't that make us even more reliant on technology?
It's a good question. Some people worry that we're already too dependent and that AI assistants will just make it worse. But others argue that it can actually free up our time and energy so we can focus on more important things.
Like, would you rather spend your time scheduling appointments and sending emails? Or would you rather spend that time with family, pursuing your hobbies, or working on something you're passionate about?
Right, exactly. It's about AI enhancing our lives, not taking over. And the good news is, there are options for everyone now. You don't have to pay a premium price.
Really? Like what?
Convergent AI just launched Proxy. It's a free AI assister designed to compete with OpenAI's Operator. It can book appointments, make reservations, all for free.
Free? That's amazing. But can a free tool really compete with something like Operator, which has OpenAI behind it?
That's what makes it so interesting. Proxy is still pretty new, but it uses these large meta-learning models. They allow it to learn and adapt really quickly. It might not have all the fancy features of Operator, but it shows that the AI landscape is changing fast. What used to be a luxury is becoming accessible to everyone.
This all sounds incredible, but I have to admit, it makes me a little uneasy. Are we really ready for a world where AI is controlling so much? What if it makes mistakes?
It's a valid concern, and it's why we need to be careful and thoughtful about AI. We can't just blindly trust these systems, especially when their decisions could have real consequences. We need to be aware of their limitations and potential biases.
So it's not about replacing human judgment, it's about finding the right balance.
Exactly.
We can use AI's strengths, like its ability to analyze huge amounts of information and identify patterns, but in the end, we're still the ones making the calls.
It's a partnership.
Okay, I'm starting to get a better understanding of this whole AI assistant world. It's changing so fast, but it's something we all need to be paying attention to.
Definitely. And there's one more development we should talk about that's really shaking things up. It's from a company you might not expect. ByteDance, the company behind TikTok.
Wait, TikTok is getting into the AI assistant game? What are they doing?
They just released something called UI TARS, and it's turning heads. It's not like the usual AI assistant where you talk to it. This one actually interacts directly with graphical user interfaces. Think of it like an AI that can control your computer or your smartphone.
Hold on, an AI that can use my computer. That sounds a little risky.
It's definitely a big leap, and it raises concerns about security and privacy. But it also shows how quickly AI is evolving. It's blurring the lines between the real world and the digital world.
Okay, so tell me more about this UI TARS. What can it actually do?
It's designed to do a lot of different things. Booking appointments, managing files, creating presentations. Basically, it can interact with any software that has a graphical user interface.
So it's like having a super efficient virtual assistant that does all the boring computer stuff for you. I could get used to that.
Right. It could totally change how we work and interact with technology, but of course there are those security concerns we need to address.
Yeah, giving an AI control over my computer is a little scary. How does it even work? Does it, like, read your mind?
Not quite mind reading, but it's pretty smart. UI TARS uses machine learning and a massive database of screenshots and user interactions to learn how to navigate interfaces. It's like having a really smart intern who learns by watching you work.
That's impressive. But then I think about all the personal information we have on our computers. Are we really ready to trust AI with that kind of access?
It's a big question we have to ask ourselves as these technologies get more powerful and integrated into our lives. Security and privacy have to be top priorities, especially when we're talking about AI that can access our personal data and interact with the digital world for us.
I definitely see the potential, especially if those security issues can be resolved. Imagine AI that can handle all those annoying computer tasks.
Think of all the time and energy we could save. We could focus on things that are more creative, more strategic, more meaningful to us.
That sounds like a good future to me. But with all this talk about AI becoming so powerful, it makes me wonder if we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. Are we heading towards some kind of sci-fi scenario where AI takes over?
It's natural to have those worries, but it's important to remember that AI, for all its advances, is still limited by its programming and training data. It can process information and respond in ways that seem intelligent, but it doesn't have true understanding or consciousness like humans do.
So we're not quite at the point where robots are going to rise up and enslave humanity.
Not even close. But we still need to be having these conversations and thinking about the potential impact of these increasingly powerful AI systems. We need to make sure that AI is being developed and used for good, not to replace or harm us.
Well, that's good to know. So AI assistants are getting more advanced, but we're still a long way from true artificial intelligence. What does that mean for the future of these tools?
I think the focus is going to shift from just automating tasks to creating AI that can actually work with humans, collaborate with us in meaningful ways. It's about leveraging AI strengths, things like data analysis and pattern recognition, while humans still make the final decisions.
So it's not about replacing us, it's about working together.
Exactly, and that's where it gets really exciting. Imagine an AI assistant that can help you with research, generate creative ideas, even give you feedback on your work.
That's definitely a future I can get behind. It sounds like AI could really help us achieve incredible things.
It's all about potential, and that's why it's so important to approach AI with both enthusiasm and caution.
Okay, we've covered a lot here. Different ways of developing AI. The rise of superpowered AI assistants, even AI that can control our computers.
It's a whirlwind tour of the AI world, and it's clear this technology is changing everything so quickly. It's a time of incredible opportunity, but also big challenges. And we need to approach AI with a sense of wonder, but also a healthy dose of skepticism.
Well said. So what about OpenAI's stance on being politically neutral? Did anything in those AI breakfast articles jump out at you?
You know, it's interesting you bring that up. OpenAI actually removes a statement from their website about their models being unbiased by default.
Really? Why would they do that? It seemed like they were trying to reassure people that their AI wouldn't be pushing any kind of political agenda.
That's what's so fascinating. By removing that statement, it's opened up a lot of questions and debate.
I could see why that would be a big deal. People are already worried about bias in AI, so this move by OpenAI is definitely going to raise eyebrows.
It does make you think, why did they do it? What does it mean for their AI models going forward?
This is where it gets tricky, right? We don't want to jump to conclusions or start pointing fingers, but it's definitely something to watch closely.
Absolutely. It reminds us that AI is constantly evolving, and the decisions companies like OpenAI make can have a big impact on the whole industry.
Okay, I'm ready for the final stretch of this deep dive. Let's wrap things up and try to make sense of this wild world of AI. Okay, we've covered so much in this deep dive. AI reshaping everything, global competition heating up, pushing the limits of what's possible. But what does it all mean? What's the big takeaway for our listener?
The thing that really hits me is just how fast AI is changing. Think about everything we've talked about. AI writing code, creating realistic images, robots, even waltzing. And this is just the beginning. What's really mind-blowing is how quickly it's going from those labs into our daily lives.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in, but why should our listener care? How will it affect their life?
Well, imagine you have this AI assistant. It helps you with your work, keeps your schedule, even knows what you need before you do. AI personalizes your healthcare, creates new kinds of entertainment, even solves some of the biggest problems in the world. That's the power of AI, and it's happening now.
It's like we're at the start of something huge, but it's a little scary, right? All this talk about AI arms races and super intelligent machines, it feels like a sci-fi movie sometimes.
It's true, there are some real concerns about the downsides of AI, but I think it's important to come at this with curiosity, a willingness to learn. The more we understand AI, the better we can shape it. Make sure it's used for good.
That's a great point. We can't just let AI happen to us. We need to be a part of this conversation, asking the tough questions, demanding to know what's going on, holding the developers accountable.
Exactly, and things like AI Breakfast are a fantastic way to stay in the loop and be a part of those important conversations.
Okay, before we wrap up, let's go back to something you mentioned before. This whole idea of building bigger, more powerful AI versus focusing on efficiency, specialized applications. Where do you think things are headed?
That's the question, isn't it? Will we have a few massive AI systems running everything, or will it be more diverse with lots of different AI tools for specific things? Will DeepSeek's approach push OpenAI towards a more open future, or will we see more consolidation as everyone chases efficiency? It's too early to tell, for sure.
It's like we're standing at a fork in the road, and the decisions we make today will shape the future of AI. It's a big responsibility.
It is, but it's also incredibly exciting. We get to be part of shaping this technology to benefit humanity, to build a better world for everyone.
Now that's something I can get behind. So for our listener who's been with us on this deep dive, what's the one thing they should remember?
The big takeaway is this. AI is not science fiction anymore. It's here, it's evolving fast, and it's going to touch every part of our lives. The question is, what role do we want to play in its future?
That's a powerful thought. I think we've given our listeners a lot to consider.
I hope so, and I hope they'll keep exploring AI and engaging in these important discussions.
This has been an amazing deep dive. Thanks for taking this journey with me through the world of AI.
It's been a pleasure.
And to our listeners, thanks for diving in with us. We'll catch you next time on The Deep Dive.